The arrival. Captain Jace Renner stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, humanity's most advanced warship. The sleek Dreadnought, a marvel of human engineering and ingenuity, glided silently through the inky blackness of space. "Status report," Renner barked, his steely gaze fixed on the viewscreen. "All systems nominal, Captain," replied Lieutenant Kira Singh, the ship's navigator. "We've just crossed into the Zephyrus sector." Renner nodded, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. The Prometheus was the first human vessel to venture this far into unexplored space, a testament to the resilience and determination of the human spirit. "Any signs of life out there, Zara?" Renner asked, turning to the ship's science officer. Zara Mikhailov, her emerald eyes focused on the sensor readouts, shook her head. "Nothing yet, Captain. But given the vastness of this sector, I wouldn't be surprised if we stumble upon something soon." As if on cue, an alarm blared through the bridge. "Captain," Singh exclaimed, "I'm picking up a massive energy signature directly ahead." Renner's brow furrowed. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing a colossal structure floating in the void. It was unlike anything the crew had ever seen, a sprawling asymmetrical construct that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "What in the name of God is that?" Renner breathed. "I don't know, sir," Mikhailov replied, her fingers flying across her console. "But it's emitting an energy signature that's off the charts. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Renner's mind raced. Could this be the proof of extraterrestrial life they have been searching for? The discovery that would change the course of human history? "Lieutenant Singh, bring us in closer. Dr. Mikhailov, keep scanning for any signs of life or activity. I want to know everything about this structure." As the Prometheus drew nearer, the sheer scale of the alien construct became apparent. It dwarfed the mighty Dreadnought, making it seem like a mere speck in comparison. Suddenly, a deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. "Attention, unidentified vessel. You have entered restricted Valorian space. Identify yourselves immediately or face the consequences." Renner exchanged a glance with his crew, a mix of excitement and trepidation in their eyes. They had trained for this moment, but now that it was here, the weight of its significance was almost overwhelming. "This is Captain Jace Renner of the United Earth ship Prometheus," he replied, his voice steady. "We come in peace, seeking to establish contact with other civilizations." There was a moment of silence. Then the voice returned. "Your presence here is a violation of Valorian law. Prepare to be boarded and your vessel seized." Renner's eyes narrowed. "With all due respect, we have no intention of surrendering our ship. We are explorers, not invaders. Perhaps we can find a peaceful resolution to this misunderstanding." The voice grew colder, tinged with disdain. "You presume to negotiate with the Valorian Empire. Your arrogance is astounding, even for a primitive species such as yours." Renner bristled at the insult, but kept his composure. "We may be new to the galactic stage, but we are far from primitive. The Prometheus is a testament to our technological prowess and the strength of the human spirit." "Your words are empty, human," the voice sneered. "You have no idea of the powers you are dealing with. Surrender now or face annihilation." Renner's jaw tightened. He had not come this far to bow to the demands of an alien bully. "I'm afraid surrender is not an option. We will defend ourselves if necessary." As if in response, the alien structure began to glow with an ominous light. "Then you have sealed your fate," the voice boomed. "Prepare to feel the wrath of the Valorian Empire." Renner turned to his crew, his eyes blazing with determination. "Battle stations, raise shields and arm weapons. We'll show these Valorians what humanity is made of." As the crew scrambled to their posts, Renner couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. They were about to face an unknown enemy, an alien power that had threatened their very existence. But he knew, deep in his bones, that the human spirit would not be broken so easily. They would fight, they would endure, and they would prevail. For they were the UES Prometheus, the vanguard of humanity, and they would not go quietly into the night. The battle for humanity's place in the galaxy had begun, and Captain Jace Renner was ready to lead the charge. Come what may, they would face it together, united in their determination to explore, to discover, and to forge a new path for their species among the stars. The battle begins. As the Prometheus readied itself for battle, Captain Renner knew they were in for the fight of their lives. The Valorian ship loomed before them, its alien architecture both mesmerizing and terrifying. "Sir, they're charging weapons," Lieutenant Singh shouted, her eyes wide with fear. "Evasive maneuvers," Renner commanded. "Mikhailov, what can you tell us about their weapon systems?" Zara Mikhailov, her face illuminated by the glow of her console, shook her head in frustration. "Not much, Captain. Their technology is unlike anything in our databases, but based on these readings, their firepower is significantly greater than ours." Renner gritted his teeth. They were outmatched and outgunned, but retreat was not an option. They had to find a way to level the playing field. "Tactical, target their weapons systems with everything we've got. Singh, keep us moving. Don't let them get a lock on us." The Prometheus veered sharply as a searing beam of energy sliced through the void where they had been moments before. The ship shuddered as its own weapons discharged, lancing out toward the Valorian vessel. But the alien ship's shields held firm, absorbing the brunt of the Prometheus assault. In retaliation, a barrage of missiles streaked from the Valorian craft, their alien propulsion leaving twisting trails of light in their wake. "Brace for impact," Renner shouted as the bridge crew clutched their consoles. The Prometheus shields flared as the missiles struck home, the ship rocking violently under the onslaught. Alarms blared as damage reports flooded in from across the ship. "Shields down to 60%. Singh reported, her voice tight with stress. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Renner's mind raced. They needed a new strategy, a way to outmaneuver the superior Valorian technology. And then it hit him. "Singh, plot a course directly toward the Valorian ship, full speed." Singh gaped at him. "Sir, a head-on collision at these speeds." "Just do it, Lieutenant. Trust me." As the Prometheus surged forward, the Valorian ship began to grow in the view screen, its alien contours becoming clearer with each passing second. The enemy vessel continued to fire, its weapons pounding against the Prometheus' failing shields. "Captain, shields are about to collapse," Mikhailov warned, her face etched with concern. "Steady," Renner said, his eyes locked on the view screen. "Wait for my signal." The bridge crew held their breath as the two ships hurtled toward each other, the distance between them rapidly closing. Just as it seemed a collision was inevitable, Renner shouted, "Hard to starboard. Now." Singh reacted instantly, her hands flying over the controls. The Prometheus veered sharply, its hull scraping against the Valorian ship's shields as it passed by with mere meters to spare. "Fire all aft weapons," Renner commanded. The Prometheus rear cannons unleashed a devastating barrage, catching the Valorian ship's unshielded flank. Explosions blossomed across the alien vessel's hull as its shields flickered and died. A cheer erupted on the bridge as the crew watched the Valorian ship list heavily, its weapons falling silent. "Well done, everyone," Renner said, allowing himself a brief smile. "But this battle is far from over. Singh, get us some distance. Mikhailov, I want a full damage assessment and repair priorities. We need to be ready for round 2. As the crew set to work, Renner couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The Valorians had underestimated them, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. And if this was just a taste of the challenges that awaited them in this uncharted corner of the galaxy, they would need every ounce of human ingenuity and resilience to survive. But as he looked around at his crew, their faces determined and resolute despite the odds, Renner felt a swell of pride. They were the best of humanity, and together they would face whatever the cosmos threw at them. The Prometheus would not fail. The human spirit would not be broken. The battle had been won, but the war for their place among the stars had only just begun. Uneasy truce. In the aftermath of the battle, an eerie calm settled over the Prometheus. The crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage, their faces grim but determined. They had survived their first encounter with the Valorians, but the cost had been high. Captain Renner stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the viewscreen. The crippled Valorian ship hung in space, a testament to the ferocity of the battle. But even as he watched, a flurry of activity could be seen around the alien vessel as smaller craft darted back and forth, no doubt effecting repairs of their own. "Captain, we're being hailed," Lieutenant Singh reported, her voice tinged with surprise. "It's the Valorians." Renner's brow furrowed. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing the angular features of a Valorian officer. Its skin was a mottled gray, and its eyes were a piercing violet that seemed to bore into Renner's very soul. "Captain Renner," the Valorian said, its voice a melodic trill that was almost hypnotic. "I am Commander Zolara of the Valorian Empire. I must admit, I am impressed by your ship's performance. You fought with a skill and tenacity that belies your species' relative youth on the galactic stage." Renner inclined his head, acknowledging the compliment even as he remained wary. "Thank you, Commander Zolara. But I must ask, why have you contacted us? Our last exchange was less than cordial." Zolara's thin lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "Indeed, but the circumstances have changed. Your ship has proven itself a formidable adversary, and to continue this battle would be foolish. I propose a temporary truce, an opportunity for our two species to come to an understanding." Renner's eyes narrowed. "And what would the terms of this truce be?" "A meeting, Captain. Face to face on a neutral world. An exchange of information and perspectives. An opportunity to find common ground and perhaps lay the foundation for a more permanent peace between our peoples." Renner considered the offer. It could be a trap, a ploy to lure them into a false sense of security. But it could also be a genuine opportunity, a chance to learn more about this alien empire and perhaps find a way to coexist. He glanced at his crew, seeing the mix of hope and apprehension in their eyes. They had signed on for a mission of exploration and discovery, not a war. If there was a chance for peace, however slim, did they not have a duty to pursue it? "Very well, Commander Zolara. We accept your proposal. Send us the coordinates for this meeting, and we will be there." Zolara inclined its head. "A wise choice, Captain. I look forward to our encounter. Until then, safe travels." The view screen went blank, and Renner let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. He turned to his crew, seeing the questions in their eyes. "I know this is a risk," he said, his voice firm. "But it's a risk we have to take. If there's a chance for peace, for understanding, we owe it to ourselves and to all of humanity to pursue it. But make no mistake, we will not let our guard down. We will go into this meeting with our eyes open and our wits sharp, and if it is a trap, we will be ready." The crew nodded, their faces set with determination. They trusted their captain, and they trusted in the strength of the human spirit. As the Prometheus set course for the coordinates provided by the Valorians, Renner couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the beginning of a new era for humanity. An era of exploration and discovery, of cooperation and understanding with the myriad species that call the galaxy home. But even as he allowed himself to dream, Renner knew that the road ahead would be far from easy. The Valorians were just one of countless alien races out there, each with their own agendas and ambitions. And humanity, for all its strengths, was still the new kid on the block, untested and unproven. They would have to be smart, adaptable, and above all, resolute in the face of whatever challenges lay ahead. But Renner had faith in his crew, and in the indomitable human spirit that had brought them this far. Come what may, the UES Prometheus would boldly go where no human had gone before, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire species on its shoulders. The adventure was just beginning. A fragile alliance. The Prometheus glided through the void, its destination a nondescript planet in a nearby system. Captain Renner stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the viewscreen as the world grew larger with each passing moment. "We're entering orbit, Captain," Lieutenant Singh reported. Sensors indicate a small Valorian delegation on the surface, at the coordinates provided. Renner nodded. Acknowledged. "Prep the landing party. Dr. Mikhailov, Lieutenant Commander Voss, you're with me. Singh, you have the con." As the away team assembled in the transporter room, Renner couldn't shake a feeling of unease. This meeting could be a turning point in human-Valorian relations, but it could also be a carefully laid trap. "Energize," he ordered, and the transporter hummed to life. In a shimmering cascade of light, the team materialized on the planet's surface. They found themselves in a clearing surrounded by towering, crystalline structures that seemed to grow from the very bedrock. In the center of the clearing stood Commander Zolara, flanked by two other Valorians. "Captain Renner," Zolara greeted, its voice a melodic trill. "Welcome to Theria Prime. I am pleased you accepted our invitation." Renner inclined his head. "Commander Zolara, I hope our meeting today can be the start of a new chapter between our peoples." Zolara's violet eyes seemed to glimmer. "As do I, Captain. Please, walk with me." As the two groups began to stroll through the crystalline forest, Renner couldn't help but marvel at the alien beauty surrounding them. Dr. Mikhailov, too, seemed entranced, her scientific curiosity piqued by the strange formations. "Tell me, Captain," Zolara said, breaking the silence, "what brings humanity to this distant corner of the galaxy? What drives your species to reach for the stars?" Renner considered the question. "Curiosity," he said at last. "A thirst for knowledge, for understanding. A desire to explore, to discover, to push the boundaries of what we know. It's in our nature." Zolara's thin lips twitched. "Admirable traits, but also dangerous ones. The galaxy is vast and filled with wonders, it is true. But it is also filled with perils, with species and forces that would not hesitate to crush you." "Is that a threat, Commander?" Lieutenant Commander Voss asked, his hand drifting toward his sidearm. Zolara waved a slender hand. "Merely an observation. The Valorian Empire has endured for millennia. We have seen countless species rise and fall, consumed by their own ambitions. I would hate to see humanity meet a similar fate." Renner's brow furrowed. "And what is it that you propose, Commander? How can our two species coexist peacefully?" "An alliance, Captain. A sharing of knowledge and resources. The Valorian Empire can offer humanity protection, guidance, a place in the greater galactic community. In return, we ask only for your cooperation and your loyalty." Renner was silent for a long moment. The offer was tempting. An alliance with the Valorians could accelerate humanity's progress by centuries, could open doors to technologies and wonders they could scarcely imagine. But at what cost? He had seen the casual disdain with which Zolara spoke of other species, the implied threat in its words. Was this truly an offer of friendship, or merely the velvet glove concealing an iron fist? "Your offer is generous, Commander," Renner said carefully. "But I cannot commit my entire species to an alliance without careful consideration and consultation with my superiors. Surely you can understand that." Something flickered in Zolara's eyes, a hint of annoyance quickly masked. "Of course, Captain. Take the time you need, but do not take too long. The galaxy is in flux, and opportunities such as this are fleeting." The meeting ended cordially, but as the away team beamed back to the Prometheus, Renner couldn't shake a sense of foreboding. The Valorian's offer was a double-edged sword, and he would need all his wisdom and discernment to navigate the path ahead. As the Prometheus broke orbit and set course for Earth, Renner knew that the decisions he made in the coming days would shape the future of humanity. The stakes had never been higher, and the margin for error had never been thinner. But one thing was certain: Whatever challenges lay ahead, the crew of the Prometheus would face them head-on, with all the courage, ingenuity, and indomitable spirit that defined the human race. For they were explorers, discoverers, seekers of knowledge and truth, and no power in the galaxy, Valorian or otherwise, would stand in the way of their destiny. The choice. Captain Renner stood before the United Earth Council, his heart heavy with the weight of the decision before them. In the days since the Prometheus' return, he had briefed the Council on every detail of their encounter with the Valorians, from the fierce battle to the uneasy truce and the offer of alliance. Now the fate of humanity rested in their hands. Captain Renner, Counselor Ivanova began, her holographic visage flickering slightly. The Council has deliberated long and hard on the information you've brought us. The Valorian offer is tempting. The technological and scientific advances they could provide would be staggering. Renner nodded, his face carefully neutral. Yes, Counselor, but I urge caution. The Valorians are a proud and ancient race, and their offer comes with strings attached. They seek not just an alliance, but dominion. Counselor Singh leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. But can we afford to refuse, Captain? You've seen what's out there. The Valorians may be the only thing standing between us and annihilation at the hands of an even greater threat. Renner's jaw tightened. It was a valid point. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. An alliance with the Valorians could provide a measure of security, a buffer against the dangers that lurked in the void. But at what cost? Counselors, Renner said, his voice firm. I do not believe that the path to humanity's future lies in subservience to another power, no matter how advanced or powerful they may be. We must forge our own destiny, even if that path is harder and more dangerous. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, Counselor Nakamura spoke. You may be right, Captain. But what alternative do we have? We are newcomers on the galactic stage, untested and vulnerable. Can we really go it alone? Renner met Nakamura's gaze. Not alone, Counselor. Never alone. But as partners, as equals. There are other species out there, other civilizations that share our values and our vision. Species like the Eldari, who we encountered on our journey home. They too seek allies, friends in the face of the unknown. He paused, letting his words sink in. I propose a different path. Not an alliance with the Valorians, but a coalition of like-minded species, a united federation of planets, dedicated to exploration, discovery, and the peaceful coexistence of all sentient life. It will not be easy. There will be challenges, dangers, perhaps even conflicts. But it is a path that allows us to retain our identity, our autonomy, our soul. The council was silent, each member lost in thought. Then, slowly, Counselor Ivanova began to nod. A bold vision, Captain, and a risky one. But perhaps it is the only vision that remains true to who and what we are. One by one, the other counselors nodded their assent. There would be details to iron out, treaties to negotiate, but the decision had been made. Humanity would not bend the knee to the Valorians or any other power. They would stand tall, shoulder to shoulder with their allies, and face the unknown together. As Renner left the council chamber, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The road ahead would be long and hard, but for the first time, he felt truly hopeful for the future. The Prometheus had completed its mission. It had boldly gone where no human had gone before, and in doing so, it had changed the course of history. But its journey was far from over. There were new horizons to explore, new frontiers to conquer, new friends to make, and new enemies to face. And the crew of the Prometheus, the vanguard of humanity, would be there every step of the way. For they were explorers, adventurers, seekers of the unknown. They were human, and the galaxy would never be the same.